Hello and welcome to this episode. Today I'm talking with Nick Dunn. Nick was one of the Chennai Six, a group of British nationals who were arrested and imprisoned in India in 2013. They were working as security guards on a ship to combat piracy in the Indian Ocean. When they were detained by the Indian authorities on charges of possessing illegal firearms and ammunition, the men argued that the weapons were lawfully held for anti-piracy purposes. Today Nick talks about growing up, joining the military, what happened in India, and life after his release. This case gained significant media attention and was controversial. The supporters arguing that the men were wrongly convicted and were victims of a miscarriage of justice. After a lengthy legal battle and international pressure, the men were eventually acquitted and released in 2017. So welcome back to the podcast then. Today I've got Nick Dunn sat in my dining room, which has surprised me. Hiya Nick, how are you doing?
Good afternoon, thanks for having me on your show.
Right, the usual thing, and I know you've been asked these questions so many times, so if you can just give us a bit of history of where you grew up, why you joined the army, and what training was like and what your service was like. I'll just let you talk, nobody wants to hear me speaking.
Oh, thanks for the get to go to tell me a little upbringing. So I'm living in Ashington, Northumberland. Have lived in other places like Linemouth and Bedlington. But growing up, me mum and dad, middle class family. My dad was a miner. I'm the youngest of three. Got an older brother and sister. And as an early age, with the growing up that we had, like we would go down the Dean, the woods, make camps, and you were always wanting to be active. You were always intrigued about seeing a stick, and then you would visualize it as a weapon, and different sized sticks, branches would dictate what weapon you were having. So a big branch, you would use that as a rocket launcher or something like that. And that was my growing up. I always, as a young age, wanted to join the army. Like, you know, on a Sunday afternoon, watching them old school black and white war films.
Yeah.
And then you seeing A Bridge Too Far from a young age, that kind of inspired me to join the parachute regiment because of what they did in Arnhem. They showed great determination to fight till the last round, and that's exactly what they did. And growing up, going to school, I wasn't the teacher's pet, that's for sure. I was more in trouble than not in trouble, but that's not because of my upbringing. That's just because I was rebellious. And maybe it was I wanted to grow up a lot earlier than I was doing in reality. I just wanted to leave school, join the army. So I did me years at school, and I did college for a year. And during that college year, it was me getting fit and starting my process for joining the army. Whilst them times had happened, we'd had the attack of the Twin Towers, and then we went into Iraq in 2003 whilst I was in college. So that was always like on the news, the radio, and like I say, it was an inspiration seeing the troops going over, and you were thinking, I want to be one of them.
I was.
And I got the opportunity once I left in 2004. I went to Catterick and I started basic training for the parachute regiment. I was a skinny little tow rag, and I found training very difficult, especially doing the tabbing, because I'm a short arse and I can't extend my legs that wide. But it is something that you do learn in time to master, and I did. And like I say, basic training for the infantry is difficult, but when you're doing basic training for the parachute regiment, that is just a cut above the rest. That's why they're classed as one of the elite regiments in the British Army. I would consider the best of the best, but that's me being biased. But that's me speaking the truth as well. But yeah, I joined the battalion in 2005, and it was a
Was that Colchester, was it?
No, I was down in Dover.
Dover?
Dover. I joined One Para.
All right, okay.
They were currently based in Dover, and the reality check came in, because when I joined battalion, the rest of the battalion was doing pre-deployment training for Northern Ireland. So I'm an 18-year-old, and I've just joined a regiment, and I'm seeing all these rough, tough, scary men coming back off exercise, and I was to be honest, I was shitting myself.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I was literally shitting myself. And then we started doing the mobilisation to go to South Armagh. I spent most of the time in Besbrook Mill, but went to I think Romeo 1-2, Crossmaglen, Forkale. So I went a few different places in South Armagh, which was quite interesting. And for anyone who's been South Armagh, we all know that Cunnan, I think he's pirate actually. He's got his house on the border.
Yeah.
And his kitchen is in Southern Ireland, and his sitting room's in Northern Ireland.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
He does all the red diesel. And I remember going on that op, and he's just stood there in the kitchen, just chatting shit to the coppers, because they can't do nothing. And I was just thinking, that's ingenuity at its best. That he built that house, for a reason, and it's mental. But you can't do nothing, so you just have to just go away and do whatever. But it was an eye opener. It definitely was. It was boring. But we're being in the parachute regiment, One Para being those that was involved with Bloody Sunday. It was our final farewell to Northern Ireland. It was a peaceful one, but you still got the places where you would get abuse and the odd stones. But, people, I think they were more feared seeing the maroon machine coming down that street more than anything.
Yeah. But I mean, it was a quieter time then. I mean, the last time I went out was 97. Again, I was at Besbrook. Yeah. And I know Romeo 1, Crossmaglen, stuff like that. Yeah. I know the farm you're on about. Yeah. And we were there. I mean, when I was there, it was when Stevie Restrick got killed. My battery was one of my mates. That changed the tour for us. But it was, again, it was fairly quiet, and it was nice that it wasn't as bad as it had been previously. I mean, I know guys who were out there in the 70s and stuff like that, and
they call the troubles in the 90s, don't they? That was really, really bad in the 90s.
I mean, yeah, it was. I wouldn't want to go, but I would want to go back. I'd like to go back and see the place as it is now. I'd like to go back and firebomb Besbrook Mill because it's a shithole. Fucking yeah. Sorry to interrupt you then.
No, it's fine. But yeah, during halfway through Northern Ireland, because of the operation in Sierra Leone, the special services of the British military were wanting to formulate a new support group for the SES and SBS. And because of how One Para operated in Sierra Leone, working alongside the SES, they were chosen out of the 3 battalions to join and form a Special Forces support group, which I probably would have imagined rubbed the salt in the wounds of 2 and 3 Para, because for all those who know, in World War II, 2 and 3 para got the most glory out of 1 para. So,
Yeah.
and obviously 1 para never went to the Falklands because they were stuck in Northern Ireland on standby.
Right. Yeah. Fair enough.
Um,
So there's always been that rivalry between the three battalions as well.
I believe so, yes,
Yeah.
and they got chosen because of how good we were operating on exercises and working alongside
Yeah.
with 2-2 or the SBS, and they decided to start halfway through Northern Ireland, so they sent B Company to Iraq
Right.
to work alongside the SAS. So that just shows how good of a battalion, a regiment we were.
Yeah.
Because they were trying to get it, I think, for 2006, 2007, but it came a lot earlier because of they wanted us because they were happy with how we were conducting business.
Yeah.
So after coming back from Northern Ireland, we were being chosen to be in Special Forces Support Group. So we moved closer to Hereford, and we were based in St Athens in Wales. So it was a less journey, still kind of a long journey from up in Ashington, but I don't have to go down to Dover now. I just got to go to South Wales. So instead of going down the country, I'm cutting across it. So, still a trek, but I was great. I've met some great mates, and I just got to see what it was like being in a high echelon fighting machine of the parachute regiment. And obviously we know what happened with the Twin Towers and Iraq, so they were my incentive as well as growing up wanting to join the army. So after Northern Ireland, it was just full steam ahead, changing from green role soldiering to fighting in the desert, fighting in built up hostile environments like Baghdad and Basra, etc. So going to Afghanistan 2007, we were part of a group formulated with the Royal Marines company that was part of SFSG, and our operation was solely to be a phone in the backside of the Al Qaeda and Taliban. We were going on strike missions, basically the kid with the stick. When we were, even if we got stung, we weren't playing the victim. We were being the aggressor.
Yeah.
There was no hearts and minds on these operations, and it was quite interesting. For security reasons, even to this day, I still can't mention any places.
No, understood.
So when we were in Afghanistan, we went on an operation, and for those who've been to Afghanistan, we all know about the IEDs, the improvised explosive devices, which was the hidden killer amongst our troops and other troops from ISAF. But on this particular operation, from the get-go, vehicles were hitting mines, and no one was getting injured. The vehicles were rolled off, but people weren't injured. And for those who've been to Northern Ireland, I mentioned dicking. It's when people basically say they get young kids and they just tell them to find the enemy, i.e. British troops, etc., see where they are and coming back and report. So when we were in the desert in Afghanistan, we noticed on one of the hills 2 people watching were. So we've jumped in the Wimmick. I was top gunner, and we've gone to investigate. The time we got there, they were nowhere to be seen. So doing what you do, you just do a 180 and follow the route you've just came for that particular reason.
Yeah.
Because we all know before the Russians left, they just threw mines all over the shop. We literally got back to where we were operating, and we went to pull up, and next minute, massive explosion, dust cloud, and next minute, once the me head wasn't skew with, I kind of focused once the dust was kind of starting to settle. My ears were ringing, and being a typical bloke, I grabbed the crown jewels, and I was like, if they're still there, I'm still here. The three of us were unscathed, but it wasn't a anti-tank mine. It was an ID of pressure plate to take out one person, which if you take one person, there's 5 in total, because 4 people for the stretcher. It went up, it was a 105 shell. It went up the engine block, but no one was seriously hurt. But for anyone who's been involved in explosions or you've seen movies, it's not like the movies. The only thing that is similar to movies is when everything goes into slow motion.
Yeah.
Like when I was getting out of the Wimmick and I was trying to climb out, I could hear the guys screaming, but it was in slow motion. And they were coming with their metal detectors, and then they were just making sure there was no other secondary devices.
Yeah.
And they found this big signature, and it was massive, and it was just a bit forward and to the right. So they marked it down with the red tags, basically saying potential anti-tank mine. So if we'd parked a little bit further to the right and forward, I wouldn't be here today. None of us would, because that would have just obliterated the Wimmick and us. So you could say luck was on our side, but on that particular operation, people were just mine strikes. One of the guys was on the quads. It was a delayed one. So he's drove over it, but it's exploded on his trailer. So it's flipped his trailer and threw him off the quad. So yeah, he was lucky. He was shaking.
I bet he was.
It was just one of those ops. But that's the intelligence service for you. You never go to the same place twice, and unfortunately, we did. So
yeah, I mean sometimes you have to though, but it's not ideal.
It's not ideal because. When I saw the remains of the 105 shell, the black and nasty was fresh, absolutely fresh. So they've seen us on a previous op and they've gone, maybe that might come here again, and doing that. But when I was on the high ground with the support group and the snipers, and I could hear one of the other companies going in, storming the compound, and I could hear all the chatter on the radios, and I was just looking through the binos, and I was like, where are they?
Yeah.
I can see our guys and I can see them shooting, but where's the enemy? Who are they? And that's, it's just amazing how they do the shoot and scoot method. So they just brass nearly a whole mag, hoping that one of them 30 rounds hits a soldier. Because if they did stand toe to toe, they wouldn't last 2 minutes.
No, I mean, they weren't a professional army, but they were good at what they did.
Yeah. Guerrilla warfare.
Yeah. I mean, that's the trouble we had in Ireland. It's the trouble we've had in Iraq after that. I was there 2003, different war. All of a sudden it flipped.
Yeah.
It's like I've discussed with other people who were there with us and stuff like that, and on some of the podcasts previously where, we went in, we did our job, and all of a sudden we switched from the war's over, and we went into Basra, just me and my mate in a Land Rover. We were kind of naughty by going in because we just went in because we found out there was an off license, so we went to get beer.
Aye.
But we went down on our own.
Yeah.
And the locals were glad to see us. They were coming up talking and stuff like that and blah blah blah, and waving at us, and And then like a week later, fucking changed.
Yeah.
And then when we went back to Germany and the next unit went in to take over from us, that's when all the shit started over there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it was, but it's totally different. But I mean, I was lucky enough never to go to Afghan. And I'm glad I didn't, because the state I've seen some people come back in and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah. There's one thing about the Afghan. People might agree with what I'm saying here, or might disagree. But I think when Ross Kemp did that TV series on the Afghan,
Yeah,
that opened a lot of people's eyes because they weren't used to it. The
yeah,
last time we did a war, it was Falklands, and that wasn't. You didn't see much on the media about that. You did, but
yeah.
you didn't compared to when you heard about Afghan and Iraq, etc. But I think it opened a lot of people's eyes. Like, that's the only time my dad's ever getting emotional,
Yeah,
is when I told him I was going to Afghan, because it was I think it was a week after the Welsh Guards, that 7 of them were killed in one sitting, including the CEO.
yeah.
And that was horrific. I think the whole country, the whole United Kingdom, moaned when they heard that,
Yeah.
because it was the biggest incident British forces had ever seen since the Falklands.
I think the other thing that brought it into the people's minds in the forefront, it was the repatriation of soldiers when they were coming through Wootton Bassett and stuff like that. People lining the route and everything like that. Obviously, other previous conflicts, that wasn't televised, that wasn't seen. People didn't see it.
No.
I mean, fucking hell, I'm filling up now thinking about it.
Oh, it's upsetting.
I'd see. I'm the same as you. I've lost people we know out there. And to see the bodies getting repatriated, it hits home, and I think it put a lot of people again. The general public against us being there.
Yeah, it did,
But I mean, whether we were there for the right reasons or the wrong reasons doesn't matter. We just do as we're told. We go there.
Yeah, exactly.
And we
Yeah,
deal
and
with
a
it.
lot of people forget that. I didn't serve. Yes, okay, we did the politicians' bidding, but I signed on the dotted line to serve Queen and country. I might not be a serving soldier now, and the Queen is no longer with us anymore, but I still serve the people.
Yeah.
I took an oath, and I will stick by that oath, to protect my nation through homegrown and foreign invasion.
Yeah.
But that's just me. People who've been in the army, left the army, want nothing to do about it. They've sold their medals. They feel ashamed that they were in the army because of what they've found out later down the line. But that's their own personal choice. I do not regret anything. No. I earned that beret. I'm proud to be a member of the Parachute Regiment, and I will take that to my grave. I'm not going to turn around like a lot of soldiers have done in the past and say, I'm ashamed. No, I'm not. We did what we had to do because we were told to do it.
I totally agree with you.
Whether you agreed or not, your mindset was different. My mindset's not the same. My current partner said to me, what if you come across a dead body? How would you react? I would go, and I said to her, I don't know. After what I've been through, I am a little bit squeamish when it comes to gruesome stuff.
Yeah.
Compared to what I was when I was in the army. But I've that's a story for when I was in Iraq, having to deal with stuff like that, trying to deal with DNA and all that. But yes, I think Afghan opened a lot of people's eyes. And one of the guys that was in my battalion, I passed out with, and he unfortunately lost his life. And from what I was told, it took an hour to try and gather him up.
For fuck's sake.
And when and I was in Iraq at the time when this happened, and when we were getting a briefing to either go on the job or it was something else, but I remember being in Iraq, and our boss went, when we're going to have a meeting, and then we started hearing, because we're not invincible.
No.
Right? When we moved to St. Athens, we made our own special forces support group memorial cenotaph.
Yeah.
And when on Remembrance Day, you would look at it, and in the back of your mind, you were always thinking, who's the first name going to be? And
Fucking hell, yeah.
and it puts the shits up you.
Yeah.
Because when you're doing the remembrance, there was a few guys that's been injured.
Yeah.
And they're lucky still be alive, but they've been maimed by war. And
fucking hell, yeah. When you put it that way,
when you start and hear about it, the reality stick hits you.
Yeah.
Hits home hard, especially when you physically know the person.
Yeah.
When it's someone in your battalion, you still feel horrible, but when you physically know them, it's a bit more.
It hits home.
It hits home, and you choke.
Yeah.
But you've got to keep your head up, feel so proud, and believe you're doing a difference. You believe you're doing the right thing, and a lot of people will say I regret a lot of stuff. Like I said before, I don't regret nothing.
It's when you're saying that, when you we've both lost friends, and like when Stevie Restrick was shot in Ireland, it was you had to carry on, and it's down to your training as well, and the people around you and everyone kicking it, keeping it going. And I think it is amazing how we just carry on. The resilience people have got.
That's the military. We've got a switch.
Yeah, and it's later on when you're on your own or with your mates, you turn that switch off, and then you remember and stuff like that. But you've just you've got to crack on. You've got to get on with it.
Yeah,
and a lot of people wouldn't realise that.
Yeah, no, of course not. That's why we don't talk about it. Like, I speak to my mate who was in singing.
Yeah.
And I say, what happened on that day? And he says, I'm not saying now. Because they can't.
Yeah.
They can't. It was fucking horrific.
Yeah.
They nearly didn't harm him.
Yeah.
They nearly didn't harm him to the last round. That's how bad it was.
It's fucking mental.
And then they got that leeway where they could extract them. But, like, I'm not that kind of person to say, oh, tell me your military stuff. I've said. So what actually happened in signing games, I'm not telling you. I don't want to relive it.
If he wants to tell you, he'll tell you.
Exactly. So I don't press it.
No.
But like one of my full screws, when we were in Afghan, they were on this like other kind of role, and because he was a family man, one of the other full screws swapped his leave around.
Oh, fucking hell.
And he was a very well-respected soldier in not just the battalion, but the regiment. And he got killed in an IED. And the guy who was my full screw, who went home on leave, he feels guilty.
Yeah, no.
I hope he's at peace now. I really do. I've got a lot of respect for him. But when we were back, we had like a company piss up, and it was, at the end it was like to remember our fallen brothers. And he got so emotional and he got angry and people had to calm him down, because he was like, it should be me. It should be me. Because he didn't have kids and he wasn't a family man.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
As a single guy, we sacrifice our time so the men that's got families and kids can go and spend time, because family time is precious. Yes, being single and having no kids at the time, you still got a family, but you don't have your own family, and it's a slight different thing. But it was quite like an eye opener,
Yeah.
seeing what war can do to a man, the toughest of men. It can break them.
It's weird as well. I want to say it's weird, but it's not at the time. I've
No,
never seen someone on tour go down on tour. You know,
no,
it's
no.
afterwards.
It is,
You
yeah.
know, and
When the dust settles
yeah,
and
it's the mind games and it's the
back at
stuff,
home.
it's the stuff you're thinking about and you're going over and over and over.
Yeah.
The more people I've spoken to on the podcasts, and weirdly, some of them have said to us already that it's helped them coming on and just telling their little bit of a story. You know, and
It's like how I've dealt with my, on the end of experience with India, which we'll touch up on, obviously. I've always been asked that question. No, do you have nightmares or anything like that? I go, no, I don't. But there's days where I think, why has this happened to me?
yeah. Well,
But it's made me who I am today.
Yeah, I mean, it's understandable. You've got to think like that as well. You know, it's like fucking fate's a fucking beast sometimes, isn't
Yes,
it? Yeah.
definitely. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people who either turn to drink and drugs because they can't face the music, because they don't want to face the music, because it's too hurtful for them. And my advice to them is face the music. Please face the music, because it will be a lot better and easier in the days and the years to come. Because so many soldiers, for some reason, still live in guilt. They still think, I could have done something. You couldn't. You couldn't have done it. It's a horrible thing to say, but it was, and I'm not one of these people who think daft, but maybe it was just that's what was meant to happen. Yeah. I know it's a horrible thing to say, but we don't want to say that, but it's life.
Yeah.
Life isn't just.
It's like the old saying, isn't it? Shit happens.
Yeah, shit happens.
And that's it. It's
how you deal with it.
Yeah. There's that series of events that took you to wherever that particular time in your life took you to. Just fucking. That's what happens. You can't change the past.
No, exactly. You can shape your future, but you never change your past. But I think,
like you say, you can face your past, and you can,
I
wouldn't say accept it, but I do mean that. Yeah, you've got to accept it.
Yeah, it's like people said to me, are you still angry? And I've gone, no, I'm not angry. I've learned to accept it.
Yeah.
I don't agree with what's happened to me, because it shouldn't have happened to me. And we were used as political pawns. I 100% know this.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is. As horrible as that sounds, it is what it is.
No, it is. And it's, life sometimes doesn't treat you like, you're right, but sometimes it's just shit. So what happened after Afghan then?
Well, obviously, I touched up with Iraq. Unfortunately, that was more of a secret operation. Yeah. So I can't, unfortunately, even to this day, with the Secrecy Act, say much. Yeah. Even I tried to put it in my book, and Whitehall ripped it. They went no, because we weren't supposed to be where we were. So there we go.
Yeah. I've heard a few lads say stuff like that. Yeah.
But it was interesting. There's one thing I will say is I was on the DNA team. So once this terrorist was blattered to bits, I was instructed to give him a swab of his mouth. So I got the swab.
I don't know why I'm laughing.
I got the swab kit, and I looked at what was left of him, and I goes to me tail again. I don't know where his mouth is.
Again, I shouldn't be laughing. But...
He said to us, he goes, "What do you mean?" I goes, "Well, he's fucking all over." And he says, "We just pick a flap of skin and swab it." I was like, so I just, with my gloves, I grabbed some part of his wherever it fucking was. He was fucking a mess. I'm not gonna lie, he was a mess. Good riddance. He was a nasty man. But I swabbed him and I went, oh, fuck this. Got fucking awful, man. But like I don't have nightmares. No, like it didn't bother us at the time. I was just like, oh, because it would have been better if I could just swab his mouth. But I was trying to find a flap of skin or whatever it belonged to.
Yeah.
What part of his body it was kind of belonging to, I don't know. He was a literal mess. But yeah, after Iraq, you start adjusting back to battalion life. And we had our leave, and then we were told, oh, we're going to go to Belize to do training. Fuck me, Sennybridge was a bit cold. I was expecting to be, sweating my tits off in the Belize jungle, not fucking Sennybridge, but never mind.
Yeah, Sennybridge with its own weather system.
Oh yeah, fucking do bloody jungle training in Sennybridge, man. Fuck's sakes, man. We came under the umbrella of the Special Forces budget, but they just wouldn't give with it. I was like, what the fuck's the point in being part of them if you're not going to give with the same? We're supposed to be mirroring them, do what they do, we do. And I tell you what, and some of the guys from my battalion will agree, sometimes we did it better. And that annoyed Hereford.
I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people were wanting to go and join the SBS because of how they treat the blokes on ops. They were a lot more nicer.
I'm sat here nodding because I have spoken to people before who've been for selection and not mentioning his name, but I know a guy who got all the way to the jungle and his whole section he was with got up and walked out. And just went and sacked it. Said no, forget it. You're a bunch of cowboys. I mean, they're not. And I do know guys who are who are SF and stuff like that, and they're not cowboys. But
they're lunatics. They're
a different breed. Let's say.
Well, they're not your conventional green roll soldier.
No.
So because that's when people who I know have gone and done selection, whether they passed or not, that's one of the first things the DS say, get your head out of green roll soldiering.
Yeah.
You've still got to obviously have your, this. That's why they always advise you to be a minimum of a lance jack, which is a lance corporal for those who don't know, because that's where it comes into play on your jungle.
Yeah.
Jungle training. And one of the guys that I passed out with, he was like unbelievable, but he went as a Tom, private, and he got all the way to the jungle, and he failed on the jungle because he wasn't too clued up. So they told him, because he smashed the hills.
Yeah.
They went, go do your lance corporal, get that, and come back and you'll start on the jungle. And you know what? He went, nah, I don't feel that would be fair. So he started it from scratch and smashed it. And then, unfortunately, on his first job, he got smashed.
Oh, fucking hell.
You know what I mean? That's just the unfortunate things. And it's horrible. Horrible. You do all that hard work and then you go on your first operation and then it goes tits up. But, he's still alive today. And but that's part and parcel. It's
part of the job, yeah.
It's part of the job. You can't just think, oh, I'm going to do that, and not have in the back of your mind think I'm going to be getting off scot-free all the time.
No.
You can't think that. If you think like that, maybe soldiering isn't for you.
Yeah.
Do something else. But 2010, I noticed around that a lot of people in my battalion were starting to jump ship, go and do close protection in Iraq, Afghan, Africa, and maritime was starting to sneak into the fray as well.
It's the lure of the money, isn't it?
Yeah. And I thought, well, I've done that, and a lot of people that I know that I was friends with, and they were doing the same. And, one of them just goes, have you ever thought about doing this? He was like, obviously Dunny, which is my nickname to most of my close friends, are like, "Hey, do you want to do the pirate stuff?" I went, "Pirates? You mean Jack Sparrow?" He went, "No, man, you fucking dick." Somali pirates. I went, "Them fuckers. What are they doing against? That hijacking ships?" I was like, "How are they hijacking ships against?" You'll be surprised.
It's amazing.
And when
isn't
they
it?
hijack it, they're quick. And I started watching certain videos,
Yeah.
and fuck me, they don't off get up them ladders and grappling hooks like fucking shit off a stick. I shit you not, they're up. But no ship has ever been hijacked with armed guards.
Hasn't it?
No. There's been guards unarmed.
Yeah.
I know one of the guys who wrote a book from it, Jordan Wiley. But no way. There's no way. Unless
I've heard about them. Some of the fights and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
They've got to the citadel. They've got in but
Yeah.
they've been fought off.
Yeah. But no ship's been taken
So
over
it proves
completely.
it works.
Yes.
Basically, yeah.
And every vessel that I went on, the crew are buzzing. They feel a bit of a relief because they're shit scared. Like
Yeah.
what I think it was a Taiwanese captain or a Taiwanese ship that got hijacked. It was before I went out. It was in the early January when I first did my first job of 2011, 2012, something like that. And the shipping company wouldn't pay up, so they chopped his hand off. "You pay now," and they went, "Yes, okay, we pay."
Fucking hell.
So they literally didn't just hold the crew and ship to ransom; they lobbed the captain's hand off.
Yeah, they meant business.
These shipping companies were thinking, we're not going to give in to terrorism or anything like that. Okay, we'll just chop his hand off. "You pay now?" "Yes, okay." And it's quite funny because there's a company that goes and does the recovery process, that brings, and I've met the people that were on standby for my release.
Yeah.
They even though it was through the Indian government, they were told once they heard about our ship, then they were saying we were designated to be your saviors in a way. I was like, "Well, good job you didn't, because India wouldn't have budged anyways, regardless."
Yeah.
So, so leaving the army, went into maritime, did me close protection because I wanted to cover everything as well.
Did you have to go out of the country to do the CP course?
No.
For the firearm side of it?
We did the UK firearm, the 2-2 kind of thing, because
right, okay.
It's still class, but
yeah. I know guys who've gone to South Africa and gone over to Hungary and places.
Yeah. There is CP courses that literally do the full on.
Yeah.
But for the thing about maritime, it was easy money for the companies.
Yeah.
Because they were just putting. Like, I was hoping they were going to do something similar like the SIA, where you do a course and you get like an ID badge and this and that. But anyone who's doing maritime, you'll know how much money you've just bloody spent before you've stepped foot on a ship, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. Why do I need to do that for? Why do I need to do that for? Come on, tell me. Absolutely ridiculous. But you do it because, well, if you want to do that job, you've got to tick all the boxes. Yeah. It was an experience. We as paras, we always get the jip off the Royal Marines. "Oh, you're on ships now. You just want to be Marines." And we're like, "What yous can do, we can do better." Now shut up. But that's the banter, the rivalry between the Royal Marines and the Parachute Regiment. We still stemmed from the commandos for obviously creating the Parachute Regiment and Special Air Service in World War II.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of a rivalry. But I think the biggest was the Falklands.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we got to Port Stanley before them because they yomp, we tab. They doddle, you know.
Oh, I know lads in the in 2-9, like 2-9 Commando,
Yeah.
and the way the rivalry between let's say them and 7RHA
Oh
is
yeah.
great. I was on a crew in when I go and do an ERE down at
I'm glad you
Larkhill School.
mentioned 7RH because
I
if
just
you'd
interviewed a
said
lad the other
7
night.
power, I would have corrected you.
I've seen a few of them try to say it, and it's not. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, they get gripped straight
Yeah,
away. 7 power, no. There's only 4
Yeah.
battalions, and the 4th one's the TA.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, 7RHA. Yeah, I worked on a crew at Larkhill, and we had a lad from 148 Battery, so naval gunfire support, a lad from 2-9, and a lad from 7RHA, and me. And I wasn't much slimmer than I am now. I didn't fit that crew type of thing.
Aye.
Yeah, I went off to do tug of war. I was glad I got took off to do that. Yeah, but the rivalry just in that little crew of like 4 of us, the rivalry between them two.
Oh yeah.
It was all banner and it was great.
Oh yeah, it's what makes the British Army what it is. The rivalry, to be better than the rest.
Yeah.
That's why the recruitment videos, the motto, British Army, be the best. Now it's British Army, we care about your feelings.
Yeah, fucking what?
No wonder no one wants to join the army. You know.
Yeah. It's changed, hasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
I talked to a lad the other night, and he got out not too long back, and when he got out as a WO2, and we were both Lance Jacks together. Years ago. I hadn't seen him for 20 odd years. And I asked him about it, and I said, what's it like now? I've been out nearly 11 years, nearly 12 years. And he said, totally different. Totally different. The guys are finishing work, going back the block, single man rooms. They go in, shut the door.
Yeah.
And that's it. There's no, for an example, just before Christmas, I went over to Prudhoe to the Veterans Breakfast Club over there. They were doing a currywurst night, bratwurst night, Christmas thing, right? You know what I mean? So me and my mate lives in Prudhoe, so we went over, and one of the lasses who still works on camp at Albemarle came over, and I said, "Oh yeah, how are you doing, Brian? I haven't seen that since I left the army." And I said, "What's camp like now?" She goes, "You'd be gutted." I said, "Why?" "The bar's shut." I said, "Fucking what?" I was in a bar every night. You went in there, the lads were in there, banter, fucking have a few beers, have a crack on. Shut. Sergeant's mess. Shut. It's only open one night a week. I was like, what? She goes, no, totally. Literally, you don't, on a night time, you don't see anyone milling around camp.
No, you don't.
It's just fucking different. I don't know. I don't know if it's good or bad or just it's different people.
I've spoke to a few of my guys, who was still in after I left, but may not be still in now, and they saw the change.
Yeah.
They saw the change. I know we had to be different, right?
I mean, they're very professional. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I know we had to be different because we couldn't act like your normal para squaddy, right?
I've had a few nights out in Aldershot. I've seen something.
We had to change
and
be more of a grey man, be someone where they could blend in.
Yeah.
It's funny because civvies haven't got a clue. They wouldn't be able to spot someone from like Hereford or part of us on the streets. We can.
Yeah.
Slightly, but we can. We can, because it's that they've got an aura about them, and we can sense it. And they've always got that.
Got a halo above their head.
Yeah, and they've always got that. They always seem to have lamb chops hanging off that bloody side of that cheek, sideburn. And then when they get to camp, get them sides up. But yeah, started doing maritime and going on different jobs, seeing different multinational crews, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I think the Chinese was hard because they cannot speak English. Well, the captain can; he has to, obviously, because that's the language of the sea, English. But I was on the bridge doing my watch with a second officer, and we had this 400 odd meter American ship coming in the same direction as us, and we were nowhere near it. So they could have alternate course.
Yeah.
But he got on the radio and he was like, in his Chinese broken English voice, trying to get them to change direction. We were in a bulk carrier, 183 meter bulk carrier.
Yeah.
They're in a 400 meter, and we're telling them, "Can you move?" And I was stood there, and I tell you, I've never held me laughing so much. I'm not going to repeat exactly what he said, but read between the lines, listen to what I say, and I'm sure you can work it out what he would have said. But the American came back on the radio and he went, beep, beep, no, you move. So if you can, okay, fuck is the first word,
Yeah.
off is the second, beep, work that out, no. And he did it again. And I'm stood there and I'm thinking, why are you telling them again to move? He's told us. And then he just had to move. And I was thinking, honestly, the Chinese second officer was probably adamant we'll just go steam straight head on. You know.
Yeah, it wouldn't have ended well.
No, it wouldn't have. But you meet some different people and they're mental, man.
So here's a daft question for you then. How did you handle the food difference between the different ships?
Oh, well, quite.
I don't even know why I asked you that.
No, it was great. I didn't mind. I'll try all food. When we were on the Chinese ship, they served with octopus. And the three other lads looked at it and went, fuck that, I'm just going to drink me protein shake and that. I went, I'll have 3 plates of octopus then. And I liked it. Anyone who's had octopus and squid, they are different.
Yeah.
Squid's more chewy and rubbery. Octopus, I believe, is a lot nicer. From my experience, yeah. It was quite hard trying to get the chef to give us some powdered milk or UHT milk.
Yeah.
I literally had to go back and I literally had to follow him back to the kitchen to get it myself because fucking he was bringing everything up, bar fucking milk. He brought us the tea bags, he brought us the sugar, but fuck me, the language barrier was just non-existent. I felt like just. And then in the end, I just said, "Come on, we go." And he went, "Ah!" And I was thinking, what am I fucking saying to you? You don't understand. I was even trying to like imitate a fucking cow and pulling its udders and moo. And it was like I was talking Swahili to him. It was mental, man. But yeah, I had some laughs. We got on this Filipino ship. And then we were walking around the deck, just going about the security. Yeah, sure. Get some barbed wire here, get the hoses on, but don't activate the hoses because you only activate them when they're coming close to deter them. And in the corner of my eye, I thought, is that a fucking dog? Is that? So when we went around and we came back, a fucking goat. There was a goat. There's these ships that go around on the high seas with cattle and food, and they go to these ships and replenish them. And our Filipino ship had bought a goat.
Right.
Well, guess what was on the menu that night?
Goat curry.
Goat. And I was on the bridge, I was on the wing, and I was watching them. Thingy the goat, and the only thing they didn't eat is the guts. That guy's our board. Nothing was spared. And I said, how did you kill it? You guys vinegar?
Huh?
Aye. I didn't know what to do. Someone, when this gets dropped, please leave a comment on, because I said, how did you kill the goat? And they went, we used vinegar. I don't know if they doused it and then suffocated it in the vinegar. I don't know, but no. I 100% truthfully say he said vinegar to us. Or maybe there was a lack of, you know, English being spoken between the two of us. I am from the northeast. We apparently can't speak English, but never mind. But
I'll have to look that one up.
but
No, in
people
fact, I won't look that one up.
people have said to me, like, how did you manage to speak to the foreigners? I say, you know what? When you work abroad, you learn to take your accent off.
Yeah.
And when I do, like, more so, like, say, live interviews and stuff like that, I speak a lot slower, take my accent off, so people can understand us a bit
Yeah.
more. Because I do understand regional accents around the UK. People can misinterpret things, not hear correctly because of how, people speak. Take the Scottish for instance. They speak like we've got a broken jaw, half of them.
Yeah.
But it's a
Well,
mad accent.
let's face it. Ashington's got its own dialect anyway.
Oh, pit slang from
the
Ashington.
Deg and stuff. I mean, I'm originally from Hartlepool, and if I
Aye.
go home and I come back,
You speak more.
in Hartlepool we speak really quick, really fast.
Yeah, so do we.
Yeah, but
Okay.
it can be a bit weird. When I first joined the army, there was two of us from the northeast, me and a lad from Peterlee, and oh, you're a Geordie. Fucking not a Geordie, not a Geordie at all. I'm a monkey hanger for a start.
Monkey hanger.
Yeah, but he got called Oz because of Avida's in pet, because that had just come out when I joined. So that he got called Oz, and they were like, we watched an episode of him, and they all looked at me and they went, right, we're going to call you Neville. I said, you're fucking not.
Neville, was he not the Brummie?
No. Oh, God, I've got the name wrong, haven't I? No.
I can't remember.
I can't remember now.
But, yeah. So, the bread and butter, the meat of the podcast is my time in India.
Yeah.
When we were in prison, I'll touch up this first. When we were in prison, we were hearing a lot of, especially on the circuit, a lot of rumours and a lot of, I wouldn't say nasty comments, but we were getting slagged off. People were saying, oh, if they've done the crime, do the time and all that, and we're like sat in the prison laughing, thinking, we haven't even done anything wrong, man, you fucking idiots. But we boarded our vessel to take us from Muscat in the Oman. I think we boarded on the 1st of October 2013, if I remember, and we were supposed to go to Sri Lanka.
Right.
2 days into our transit, we got a message from the company, because our company had its floating platform armories, little vessels,
right.
Little ships. And we were told, because everyone likes to save money. Like, I've learned to say, buy cheap, pay twice. If it's, obviously you don't want to be ripped off in life, but if something's really cheap for what you're going to get, it's because it's cheap and nasty and it's shit.
Yeah.
And something's drastically going to go wrong. But everyone wants to try and save a few pennies from here and there. So, because it takes I think it costs, it did at the time, $4,000 just to get the pilot boat out.
Right.
Then you've got to pay the armory to store your kit and weapons per day.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. And we boarded our vessel, handed our kit in, they get stored away, we're bobbing around the ocean, and then we stopped to cease operations, and no one had any key apart from the tactical deployment officer or the captain to get anywhere near the weapons.
Yeah. So
their weapons were stored away in pelly boxes, and we were ceasing operations because we needed fuel and provisions. There was a cyclone. We weren't too near it, but the waves and the sea state was quite choppy.
Yeah.
Under maritime law, in them circumstances, you can seek shelter in a neighbouring country. Because the southern part of India was closest to where we were, we went towards their waters. You do not, unless you are going to port, have to inform them. I think it's 90 or 92 hours, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, people. I haven't been doing this job for a long time now, so I might forget things. But if you're going to port, you've got to inform within 90 hours or 92 hours the port authorities that you'll be coming in.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to port, we don't
no
need.
point, yeah.
And under maritime law, we could seek shelter in their waters. However, what I do believe, if it did happen, is out of, whether it be common sense or just being nice, we did inform. I believe the captain informed the port authorities we're seeking shelter because of the cyclone.
Yeah.
On the NATO operations for anti-piracy, the Indian Navy were shit-canned from the operation because they couldn't differentiate fishermen from pirate.
Yeah.
And they were fucking killing them. Innocent lives. They were killing them. Right?
Yeah.
And in the January of 2012, 2 Italian Marines doing anti-piracy operations killed fishermen. And I was thinking, how can you not know the difference between a pirate and a fisherman? Any vessel that gets near your ship, you give a warning shot.
Yeah.
After you've displayed, the weapon above your head. And there was a massive hoo-ha about that. India were patrolling their waters a lot more rigorously. And with it saying the Indian Ocean, they believe it belongs to them because they're a fucking deluded bunch of people. They can't even... If they could manage the waters, the Mumbai tax wouldn't have happened.
Right.
Simple as that.
Okay.
It's too big of a stretch of water. Even if they had all their navy vessels, they still couldn't patrol it. It's too big.
Yeah, it's a big old place, yeah.
Any person that's in maritime knows how big the open seas is.
Yeah.
It is massive. And you can't police it all. So they were very upset that this had happened with Italian Marines. But they couldn't pinpoint, they couldn't get them in prison. They were staying in their Italian embassy in New Delhi.
Right.
And then we came along, and I think it's more so truthful now, but we didn't know at the time. I believe the second officer got in touch with the port authorities because he was whinging on apparently he hadn't been paid. And I believe he's waffled some utter rubbish, lies, and mentioned weapons. And saying, maybe they're stopping me from getting off the vessel. I don't know, but 1 minute we're getting fuel and provisions. Next minute we're being boarded while everyone's asleep by the Coast Guard, armed.
Right.
And the Coast Guard vessel had their weapons on our vessel all the way back to the port of Tuticorin. When the TDO informed us that this happened, he informed everyone and woke everyone up.
Yeah.
And he said, we're being under gunpoint escorted to the port of Tuticorin. Where we were an hour and a half away. and that would have been going at 10 knots. We were going at 2 knots. So you can imagine how long it's going to fucking take to travel the distance from where we were, which if you were going 10 knots would only take an hour and a half. And as we got closer to the port of Tuticorin, I noticed on the port a massive welcome committee. You had all the locals that worked at the port gathering around, and there was a lot of police and a lot of media.
Mm.
And I said to the TJO, why are we going so slow? And he was like, I don't know. But there's no way, once we found out who these police were, they got there in that short space of time, because there were certain police organisations from Mumbai, and where we were in Tuticorin, which is in the southeast, and Mumbai is in the middle west of India, it's quite a distance. Even private jet, they wouldn't have gotten there that quick. There's no way they would have gotten there that quick, because why would they have been notified? A police organisation from Mumbai and of our naval organisations and the local boys, the anti-terrorist group, Q Branch.
Fucking hell.
And people of Q Branch, yeah. Q Branch.
Yeah.
James Bond.
Yeah.
That's where they're getting the name from, right? And it was just madness. We had to put a security on the bridge, because people, if we just allowed everyone on that vessel, they would have capsized it, because in India they've got no concept of health and safety.
Right.
They're a bunch of lunatics. Lovely people are the ones that have come to call us friends.
Yeah.
But as a nation, they're mental. They're off that rocker. And different organisations and we were showing the weapons.
Yeah.
Look, we're not high. We're everything legit. Paperwork, weapons, everything shown. And these different organisations, there's nothing to be had here. So they started trickling away. I think Q Branch were a bit embarrassed.
Yeah.
Because they were wanting recognition, I believe, from the rest of India, especially central government. Because of how the Italian Marines case was handled, they couldn't get them convicted.
Right, yeah.
So they were thinking, we'll do one fucking better. We'll just lie through the back teeth. Because that's what I've come to notice about Indians in their own country. They can't lie straight in bed. They will literally smile at you and lie to your face.
Yeah.
And then they don't care. That's the people I dealt with.
Different culture, isn't it?
It is a total different. When you see the Indians who are living here and have done for so many years, they're westernized.
Yeah.
They are still have that family culture and country culture, but they're westernized. They live differently to being in India. Total different kettle of fish over there. And Q Branch, I think, were a bit embarrassed, so they just basically fucking lied. We found the weapons. Found the weapons? We fucking showed you where they were. Oh, the paperwork doesn't mean a jot of difference. It's only for UK. What? What are you on about? But the funny thing is, right, there was 35 men. There was 35 weapons.
Right.
But only 25 could use them weapons because they were the guards, the rest were the ship crew. So if there was a cat or a dog on that ship, they would have gone to prison as well. They tarnished everyone with the same paintbrush, which was totally inaccurate and totally disgusting. The whole thing from start to finish was disgusting. But yeah, it's just madness. I get in touch with my family And my dad tells us on the phone, he says, right, we're reading stuff online and these are telling us we're trying to do a Mumbai-style attack on their nuclear power plant. Other reports, we are selling weapons to fishermen. How do you think my family felt?
I know, I can imagine. I remember seeing it in the papers.
My dad said to me, right, cut the bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Tell me what's going on now. I said, Dad, I'm doing anti-piracy security. I protect the crew. I use weapons to do my job. The weapons are legal. Some of the weapons are even, they're being struck off by the British government. They're legal bounded weapons.
Yeah.
And they're saying they're illegal. And this, that and the other. He says, because we're hearing and reading this online and seeing it. And I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. And after that phone call, I was telling the guys, I said, our families think we're fucking in the wrong here. We're bad.
Yeah. That's what.
And the Estonians were hearing it in their media as well. So the Indian authorities were lying from the offset. We were painted as the bad guys.
The bad guys, yeah.
Selling weapons to fishermen, doing a Mumbai-style attack on power. I was like, how the hell are you thinking you can accuse of that? But it doesn't matter. We were going down, and then I'm a bit of a mammy's boy, and I always advise people nowadays, make memories, make video memories, because you just never know what's around the corner.
Yeah.
And even to this day, when I think about it, these are the scars that will never go away, they'll never heal. You can cover them as much as you want, but I'll still see the scars.
Yeah.
I'll still feel the pain. And they said, right, you're going to hospital. We aren't stupid. We're getting arrested. So we put our uniform on to act as professional in front of the media.
Yeah.
Instead of just cutting around in civvies, we'll put our uniform on because that's what we were, a professional outfit. Heads held high. Some of the people you see in the media, they're covering their face, and I'm like, why? You're making yourself look guilty by doing that. Head held high. You've done nothing wrong. And they said, right, lads, you can't take watches, you can't take your belts, and we're like, we're fucked here. I advise you to ring your families and tell them what's going on. We're telling the embassy now. Because the difference in time was 4.5 hours, the UK was sleeping.
Yeah.
I think it was like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning when I finally spoke to someone. I didn't want to ring my dad because I would never wake him up. I rung my sister. I bombarded. She didn't wake up in time. I rang my mum. My mum hadn't getting to sleep. She was tossing and turning, probably because she was fucking worried. She was a little bit groggy. And this is the last time I've ever spoke to my mum where I've been able to hear her voice. Yes, it was a little bit groggy, but it's the last time I ever spoke to her properly. I said, Mum, we're getting arrested. I'm going to prison. I don't know when I'll next speak to you or see you, but don't worry, I'll be okay. I love you. And I got to go. Lisa's ringing. I spoke to Lisa. And I said, Lisa, get the embassy. The shit's hit the fan. She went, what do you mean? I went, we're getting arrested. Get the embassy now. And that was it.
Yeah.
I love you. Ta-da. Short, sweet. And that was it. We're carted away. The media were hanging out their fucking car windows trying to get pictures of her on the bus. We went to the court, the police station, and it was fucking horrendous. They didn't feed her, they gave her a bottle of water, were crammed, 35 of them were crammed in this little room. One of the Indian crew was from Tamil Nadu, so he could speak the language.
Yeah.
He was our interpreter, and he was getting smashed big time off the police.
I can imagine.
At times, they wouldn't allow him.
Yeah.
And they were pointing at a blank piece of paper, sign this, or you'll ruin your life. I said, you're going to fucking ruin it anyways. I'm signing nothing. I said, you've got me passport, you've got me discharge book, you've got me documents. Copy and paste. And I tell you what, when I came back to the UK, I spoke with a lawyer and I showed them the paperwork of all of our names. And I said, our names are wrote wrong. My name was Nicholas James. My name is Nicholas James Dunn.
Yeah.
And I said, what would happen in a UK court of law? She says it would be thrown out straight away because that's not your legal name. And even the Estonians and the Ukrainians' names and the Indian names, it's got in English, their name. Yeah. In English. Like, it'll have, obviously, if they've got, like, in certain, the dodgy little symbols and letters, it had that, but it had it in English as well.
Yeah.
And they couldn't even write them. That's just how uneducated the police was. And she was going, Madame Q Branch, that's the name we called her. She was the boss. Yes. This is just tongue-in-cheek. I don't mean anything bad about it, but we know women like to ruin men's lives. And yes, a woman ruined our fucking life. But it's just tongue-in-cheek. I don't mean anything malice about that. She was getting arsey. She wanted the process to hurry up because she wanted to get to court in time to get her convicted.
Yeah.
Even in a corrupt country, they still do a bit of, legal ways. And we got to the court. It was dark now. The court was closed, but we went around the back and someone came out in a suit, waffled, and then we got back on the bus. And then we went to a prison called Palamcote. And fuck me, it was haunting looking at that prison from the outside in. It was built under British rule.
Yeah,
it was
not the nicest of places then.
And when they found out there was 6 British there, they were doing cartwheels.
Oh, fuck.
They were like the shoes on the other foot. Because in Tamil Nadu, they cannot grasp that the British ruled them still to this day. They despise us. Big time.
Long memories.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And we went into that prison and fuck me, it was horrific. A trough full of water to wash, a hole in the floor for a toilet, no toilet roll because they don't use toilet roll over there. It's the first time and the last time I've ever used my left hand because I'm left-handed, and funny enough, in their culture they use the left hand. That's why you always offer your right hand if you're going to shake it. It's offensive if you use the left. That's why I always used my left hand. And I used to offend them. I couldn't care. But, yes, wiping your ass with no toilet roll is quite horrendous, so I don't advise you doing that. So use toilet roll. Yeah, it was horrific. We were there for a couple of days, and then the foreigners, i.e. the 23, minus the Indian. The Indians stayed there at that prison. Why? I have no idea. And we were moved up to Chennai Central Prison 2, the remand prison in Puzzal. And it took nearly a 14-hour bus ride. And it was police officers with weapons. And it was like 2 police officers per person. It was jam-packed. It was like a fucking bus of sardines.
Yeah.
And they were falling asleep We weren't even handcuffed. And we don't even know the state of their weapons, man. Barrels were nearly going to people's heads, and I was like, fucking move that, man. And they were, because they're driving 100 mile an hour.
Yeah.
They've got no road regulations. They're fucking lunatics. So we're hitting bumps in the road and weapons are moving all over. And I was like, fuck me, I'm going to, an ND's going to go off in a minute and someone's going to be shot. But we managed to get there unscathed, and it was the early morning. It was still dark when we got to that prison. So when the early morning started, we were put in like these cells where it was like for foreigners, so we weren't all jam-packed together, but in my cell, it was probably, I think, about 8 by 10, 8 by 12,
Yeah.
the cell with a little hole in the floor for a toilet, and there was 4 of us in there, and that was cramped, you know, because we're not skinny little Indians,
Yeah.
we're big guys, and that, apart from me, I'm still a short ass. I was muscly. And when you, and I always say this and all survival experts always say, when you're healthy in the mind, learn the layout of the land.
Yeah.
Start doing things, because when time sets in, you start to deteriorate. Your family starts invading your mind,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll go into the corner and cry for mommy. I did that. There was no avoiding that.
Yeah.
But you still had to have your wits about you. And from 6 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock in the evening, you're allowed out your cell. And walking around, like, just waking up and going out the cell, you are struck with the heat in southern India. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
This is, it's like I was dehydrated in seconds. And you just look at it and you're just like, is this what hell is?
Not bad.
And and in the compound we were in, there was Tamil tigers, there was Iranian meth dealers, there was Nigerian gangsters, gun runners, and all that. There was a mad bunch, but we were the big fish. Because they will keep coming up, can you get more weapons? Because in the newspapers, they were saying we were selling weapons, and they had people going, like the Tamil tigers coming up with, like, some of them could speak English, and Nigerians can speak English. And they were like, can you get us weapons and all that? Are you got any contacts? And we're like, what the fuck are you on about? We're not arms dealers, man, you defty. And they were like, really? That's what the media sell. And then they were, you know, what we found is in the Tamil newspaper was more in detail than the Hindu, which is the English newspaper. We collected all of our media, and I've got quite a lot at home, which I've not showed even to this day. Yeah, don't know why I'm hanging on to it. I should just show it all. It was like one of the guys jotted everything down from the first year and a half.
Yeah.
Like, well, weight decrease, how the prison life was, the media, their top admiral was like live on the media saying, we've got them. And we're like, who do you think we are? Who do you think we are, you clown? But the prison, you know...
Had you actually been charged with anything at this point?
We've not been charged with anything. It was about 3 months before we got charged.
Right.
We nearly got I think we got granted bail on Boxing Day. And then the whinged on, and this is when we find out later on the trial, when they did the cross examination of the collectors in the ballistic experts' reports. Basically, they've threatened put charges on now without even any evidence of these weapons being illegal. Right? And they went straight to High Court, weapons are legal. Okay, bomb. Bail denied.
Fuck's sake.
mental torture when the jailer comes up one evening. Oh, come on, go. Bail, bail. We're like, what? Bail, bail. We all got what little items we had,
Yeah.
you know, because we've been there a few months, you know, embassy bringing us stuff in. One of the guys having a visit, and he got told to stay at the end of the embassy meeting. And, you know, like, we got all our stuff and we went down to the main door, and it was nearly tea time, and the superintendent came out to go home, and he was like, what are you fucking doing here? And we're like, the jailer said we got bail. He went, no, you haven't. Fuck off. Get back your cells. And they were like, what? Mental.
Yeah.
What that does to you, it destroys you.
Yeah. What? I can't imagine.
Because I'm not a religious person, but what I do believe in is hope.
Yeah. And they've just crushed it.
And they've just crushed our hope. And that sets you back mentally.
Yeah.
We all went deflated.
Yeah.
Like, I guarantee you some of the guys were crying inside. You know, I was seething inside me. I was like... And then, just before Christmas, so we're kind of going back a little bit here, sorry. Going just before Christmas, we had the embassy come in. And this is another horrific time that I'll never forget. And the embassy said, oh, Nick, can you stay behind? I'm buzzing on her.
Right.
Smiling, buzzing. Because one of the other guys, he was told to stay behind, and his partner and dad, and I think his brother, came out to see him.
Right.
And I thought that was the same with me.
Yeah.
So I'm stood in front. So the rest of the guys have gone after the meeting, and I think it was Sharon and Petula that came to see her. I'm not too sure if Petula was there, but Sharon came on the embassy, and her face just changed. She says, Nick, I can't, but I've got a letter for you. And even to this day, I've never read that letter. But all I got was, don't worry, she's okay. Don't worry, she's okay. And it's me sister telling us that my mum, just before Christmas, and she went to the hairdressers in North Seaton, and she suffered a double aneurysm. 2 blood bubbles burst on her brain while I was in prison. And I'm getting a letter. And the embassy they didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I was just like holding this letter, and I just got into tunnel vision. And we in the military have got this thing we call the red mist. And we've all got it in us. It's our animal instincts.
Yeah.
Where we just lose control. You're in... there's no fighting style. You just lash out.
Yeah.
You can't control. You become something like when someone has an epileptic fit. You become subhuman kind of thing.
A berserker.
Yeah, berserker, to put it. And I remember walking from the jailer's office, and our compound was nearly a mile away. It's a big prison. And I will always say to those people who think white people cannot get racially abused, yes, I understand it is slightly different. I'm not going to lie there, but we still can be abused.
Yeah.
I might not have been able to understand much, but I could understand the racial slurs, and I was getting stones and sticks thrown at us. But you know what? I couldn't feel it, because the pain that I was currently going through was so greater, and I was so finding it so hard to keep the red mist from taking and consuming me. I took all the battering. I got to the compound and one of the guys saw me and he took me for a walk. And I said to him, and I told him, and he, put his on his shoulder, kind of, to confront us and look us in my face. He says, "Get your head in the gear.
Yeah.
This shit's just beginning. Don't give in now." And I said, "I'm not doing this. I'm not doing it. If my mum dies in that hospital, I'm going berserk. I will not care for myself, and I will take out as many fucking Indians as possible in retaliation." But I got an update. Like, me sister and me brother, they said that they were given the ultimatum by the surgeon: if we don't operate, she dies. If we operate, she still may die, but she may survive.
Yeah.
They did the operation, and she has survived. She can't really use her right side, but I think that's due to the fact she's had 2 strokes in the past as well.
Mm.
Her speech is very difficult. Sometimes she can just bang out a sentence and it takes you by surprise. Yeah. And you're in a shock because it comes across so clear.
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah.
But majority of the time it's gobbledygook. And I tell you what, when I go to my mum and I'm speaking with my mum and I can't understand her, all of that comes back.
Yeah. All the anger and
I even said, like, I used to go behind the toilets and pray to God, and I heard no reply. So I then was saying to the devil, "Take my soul. I will sell my soul to you if my mum could speak to me."
Yeah.
Just for one day. That's how desperate I was wanting to speak to my mum. And it breaks me. And then my birthday is on March the 1st. And I got a letter off the embassy again when they came in. And they said, "Your sister's coming." My sister came to prison and I got called down to go and see her. And it broke me. It broke me. And she could see me looking like a bag of shit.
Yeah.
And I was saying, "Don't worry, I'm alright. Tell Dad I'm alright, man. I'll survive." And I was telling her everything. What we used to do with the families is, if you've got any letters for your families, get them in and I'll take them all down. And my sister used to scan on her phone and send to the Estonian families, to the Ukrainian families, and to the British, and their families would give me sister money.
Yeah.
So if we needed any essentials, they would get inspected in the prison before, to see what we could have and not have. But they would take the odd thing, just to say that we've done our job. They've done their job.
Yeah. And
then it was quite funny because when we came to leave the prison, I had a magazine and 2 tins of tuna given to us. I was like, you've.
How long have you had them?
Well, the thing is though, like, the gate. I had 6 tins. I had 6. Wait, they're packets, not the tins. I had 6 packets of tuna, but they took 2 away, so I could still have 4. But it was just so the state. Oh, I'm going to do my job.
Yeah.
And I was seeing my sister nearly for 3 hours for till Monday to Friday. Oh, sorry, Tuesday to Friday. And on our last day, you know when we all say, "Oh, don't look," it's our instincts to look.
Yeah.
Where a couple of Indians were getting brayed by the prison guards with the latte sticks.
Right.
You know, it's mad how they do that. They hit them on the shoulder, the collarbone, and then they hit the knees, and then to stop them running away, they hit their soles of their feet. Probably what a lot of prisoners in our country have to need done, but we're our soft in our prisons. You know, I'm not acting Mr. Tough Guy, and I've said this many times, but you take hardened criminals and put them in our prison, we'll see how hard they are then.
Yeah.
Because I tell you what, they'll be crying for mommy, because I was.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for my military training, because that helped. If I was just normal, say tourist, you know, you'd be in a world of hurt.
Yeah.
Because you're just not mentally prepared for when the shit hits the fan, as you are in the army. And because we in the British Army have got a sick sense of humour, we always laugh in the face of adversity. So the times we were in prison and we just laughed things off, and we always to go, well, it can't get worse. They kind of get we're pregnant, so you know.
They can fucking try though.
Yeah, they can try, but they kind of get we're pregnant. Might give with AIDS, but never mind. You've got to die eventually, I suppose. But seeing my sister, I went, don't look, and she looked, and that was our last. So when she was leaving that prison to get back home, she in her mind was thinking, is that happening to my brother? So when the embassy comes in again, the lady said, can you please tell your sister that's not happening to you, because she's slightly worried. So I had to say it, don't worry. We didn't get abused or anything like that by the guards. But like,
not at all the way through.
No, we would have fucking hit the bastards back. You know, they wouldn't have stood 2 minutes with us. Like this, like you can get diarrhea and illness just by the food. Yeah, the food that we probably gave ourselves food poisoning. We're not fucking Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah.
And the food that we were getting was rotten at times. So, and obviously they dumped it on the floor, so cats and rats probably pissed on it and God knows what.
Yeah.
Yes, we washed them, but is their water really clean? You know, yeah. That's what you know. You've got to take into mindset. So I remember like lying in the cell, and I could feel my stomach bubbling. I was thinking, there was outside toilets, so during the day we'd use them, so you didn't stink the cell out. Bit of common decency, obviously, for the other guys. And I remember getting up and I was hobbling to the toilet, and I started puking all over the courtyard, and then I shit myself at the same time, and I just started bubbling, but then I was laughing at the same time, and I was just I want me mum, you know.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm just laughing at the.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was laughing, but I was crying. Because I was in fucking shit state. We all were. It like was like a hot knife through butter. When you get ill in them situations and that environment, it fucking there's no remorse. No one was left without having an arsehole like a Japanese flag. You know, I shit you not. But we managed to adapt to the environment, and that's when you really got to focus on your hygiene and health to the best that you physically can. It's like for those who do jungle train, if you go, that's the 2 main things. Obviously, weapon first, hygiene second. Because it's so easy. A little nick, without you noticing. The next minute it's infected. Next minute, sepsis, fucking whatnot. You're fucked. Yeah. So. We had to do that, but after nearly 6 months, we finally got granted bail. Massive bail bonds to be paid. We had to sign bail twice a day, which was a fucking ball ache because you were always clock watching. So it was like 10 o'clock in the morning and 8 o'clock at night.
Just totally fuck your whole day up, yeah.
Yeah. But you adapt and overcome, and you try to integrate, because you don't know how long you're going to be here. You don't know when you're going to go home, and you start going in tuk-tuks and exploring a bit.
Yeah.
But
so where were you staying when you were on bail then?
Out in Chennai. So we were basically staying in hostels.
Yeah.
The company that we worked for fucked that clean over, so we had to we got thrown out because there was a bill. So this is when my family then goes, we need every penny for him. And I wasn't staying in lavish places.
Yeah.
But £30 a week, right?
Yeah.
Add that up.
Yeah.
It sharp is a lot of money. I'm not earning, my company's not paying me. My family's got to keep
me. So
the
company didn't do fucking
nothing. They hung us to dry.
Fuck's sake.
You know, but you have to just do what you've got to do. Time goes by, and it's nearly a year and a half. The charges were quashed in July 2014, and then you've got a 90-day window. And even in Indian law, it states they cannot keep us, but we fucking did. We had to stay there. We had a meeting at the embassy, and some silly bent came down from New Delhi, and she was saying, "Oh, we don't think that they'll appeal." And we all looked at each other, and we went, "Are you fucking for real? Have you not been seeing what's been happening? They do everything right at the last minute to destroy your hope."
Yeah.
So 90 days is going by. People
and
it's getting to the last 10 days. Family are starting to think, we're coming home. We're like, fuck yes, we're going home. Because they're not, day 88, fuck you cunts. Day 88, they put it into the Supreme Court.
Fuck us.
2 days before we would have been released. That's like running up and kicking someone in the nuts as hard as you can, because that's what it fucking felt like.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And hope diminished. And that spread it like a virus.
Yeah.
That's when people start bickering, getting angry.
Yeah.
Because we're missing our family. We're all together as working for the company. A few people knew each other, but I will stay saying this till I die. You could have put two of lifelong's best friends in my situation. They'll not be friends today. That's how testing it was.
Yeah.
And it would have tested and probably destroyed their relationship because of what they did to us. Not physically.
Yeah.
Because they knew they couldn't break with physically. But if you're constantly getting smashed mentally, who tells your mental state to stop thinking of the pain? Because when you get lashed with whips, you'll not feel that pain anymore.
Yeah.
Because you've been numb with pain. Your mind will say, just stop, switch off the receptors eventually. But who tells the mind? Exactly. So you're constantly feeling mental anguish, mental pain and suffering. And we're back on the merry-go-round. and it's financially straining.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And it all goes to Supreme Court. The Estonians, they get their own lawyer. We've got our lawyer, and you've got the prosecution. The prosecution says the weapons are illegal, they're up to no good. We've gone, no, we're on this vessel for fuel and provisions. And because in India they have a caste system, their lawyer was a higher caste than our lawyer. But unfortunately, he wasn't told, or he just done it on his own fucking back and fucked it all over. I don't know. But he turned around when the judge asked this simple question: why was the ship where it was? The judge goes, I don't know why the ship was there. These are just innocent passengers. I'm here to get them home. Well, as soon as he said, I don't know why the ship was there, the judge stopped listening. Because he was like, you're saying one thing, they're saying another, and the prosecution are saying this. There's 3 different answers here.
Yeah.
You've left me with no other option. We have to go to trial. And when the judge said that, our lawyer said, Q Branch were high-fiving each other, because guess where the trial would have been conducted? Back in the lion's den. In the courts, the police run.
Right.
So
you're fucked.
We're fucked, basically. Yeah. And time goes on, Christmas, and I'm thinking we started the trial back in the back in the lion's den, and I was staying in Chennai. Some of the guys moved down to Tuticorin because they were being advisories to the lawyers.
Right.
Because you had to tell the lawyers what to do, but not telling them what to do, make them think it's their idea.
Yeah.
Because they're too proud. But you don't know, if you're going to be a lawyer and take a case on, you need to be told what to do
about it. Yeah.
And we couldn't use our maritime lawyer. She could only be in the High Court. She couldn't be in the lower court. So we had to get these other lawyers, best of the best, what money could buy.
Yeah.
Right. We had a fund.
So you weren't giving help off the embassy, like towards financial?
No. We set up a GoFundMe account for legal fees. And I will always say this in any podcast: if it wasn't for all those people who donated, we wouldn't have came home when we did. Fair. And I thank every single one of you people, because you made it possible. You gave us hope.
Yeah.
And we did our operation, and I said to my lawyers, I said, I'm not coming back to this fucking court unless the judge physically requests me. Because when they did the cross-examination of the collector of evidence, and he stands there in a court of law, with him saying that in a UK court, the court case would have been thrown out and he would have been done for perjury.
Yeah.
Because he stood there and said, if I had seen the ballistics expert's report, I wouldn't have put the charges on the men. But you fucking did anyways. And that's why it started. Whether he was feeling threatened by the police, I don't know. Maybe a little brown envelope. That's how they conduct business over there. I'm not saying it doesn't happen here, but it's more likely to happen over there. We went for Christmas and we had to go back for the 11th of January. And I wasn't trying to get too excited, but I wanted to try and celebrate Christmas because I was thinking maybe I'll be home.
Yeah.
At least for me next Christmas. The day of the races, get it on like Donkey Kong. The day everyone else might have remembered, David Bowie died. And that was the day we were sentenced to 5 years.
For fuck's sake.
We had the court, we were at the back of the courtroom. On the left hand, you had the judge at the front and centre at the back of the courtroom, his little typist, his assistants. Down the left side, we had Q Branch, the prosecution. Down the right side, the Estonian embassy, our legal team. Things were happening. There was a recess again, back in for the decision, and the guy stood up, waffled something in Tamil. What's going on? Madame Q Branch couldn't fucking get her flip-flops moving so fucking fast. She was out that courtroom like in a fucking dust cloud because she knew exactly what he fucking said. And our embassy staff were fucking Tamil and they knew exactly what he said, and they were straight on the phone to New Delhi saying they're fucked. They're going to prison. And we're like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And I tell you what, I've never seen a man so scared in my life. I've seen women and children in Afghan and Iraq petrified and scared, and we've all seen the hardships of war. But I've never seen a grown man come to a bunch of men so fucking scared in his life. And we were like, how I tell you what's happening? And he was like, you've been sentenced to 5 years, weapons offences. And we started seeing the police go down the side of the courtroom. Maybe they were anticipating us kicking off. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it was just a intimidation tactic. Not that I could be intimidated by them streaks of piss. But I tell you what, I said to one of the Estonians, we're fucked here. This is not good. And, you know, we came out of the courtroom, getting onto the bus. There was media out there for. And two of the guys mentioned stuff on the media, and I literally said to David Cameron, save us now. End this now. But obviously, that was us, away straight to Chennai. Took us 14 hours, simply because we fucking popped a tyre. We popped a tyre. And I thought, fuck me, we're going to die before we can get there. How we didn't fucking come off the road is beyond me. So we then had to wait for a replacement bus from the nearest prison. And India's a big country.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were still in the same state, man. You go 14 hours, you're still in the bloody Great Britain.
Yeah.
Or if you could still go, you'd be in the bloody Channel.
Yeah.
Or the North Sea. Then we got to prison, and it was morning, and we got welcomed by the superintendent, and we could tell by her English she was educated.
Yeah.
They've got to be the superintendents in their country. But she was a trained lawyer. So when we started meeting, requesting time with her,
yeah,
and we've got paper copies of our weapons certificates, she looked at us and says, why are you in my prison? You should not be here. And we're just sat there thinking, the whole country's fucking corrupt. But the prison didn't want us here. They weren't trying to make it difficulty. Yes, do I regret starting the riot in the hospital? Yeah, I did. I got put into lockdown. We had to stay in our compound. Right. So I was clearly the favourite person of the fucking 23, weren't I? I apologised. I said, look, I'm fucking seething here. I've let my emotions get the better of me. I'm fucking sorry, guys. You know, and that is one of life regrets I do have.
Yeah.
I wish I could have controlled my emotions a bit better, but
Sometimes you can't.
you can't sometimes. And then my sister always came to visit me on my birthday, and we were going through court, and the judge just refused to give a decision. How the fuck can that happen?
Yeah.
Fucking yeah. No decision. Can you see that in the UK happening? It wasn't, we've got a date for a decision. It was, no, I'm not making a decision. And in India, like, I don't know if in the legal side in the UK, our lawyers can approach Chief Justice and say, look, yeah, what's going on? You can't seem to do that in India. So, our Deputy High Commissioner was paddy with the Chief Minister, obviously. He invited him for tea and biscuits, didn't he?
Right.
To try and smooth things and say, do you want to, like, you know, get this fucking case moving? And at one point, the judge said, oh, I'll just not do it. And the Chief Minister said, yes, you fucking will. Because if she had to instruct a new judge, it would send us back 6 months.
Yeah.
Because they would have to do
start all over again. Yeah.
Another whole examination of everything. It's not just have a quick read and then make a decision. He would have to do the whole thing again. And there were some people in the party wanting to do that.
I can understand why. Yeah.
I could understand why, because you don't know, but I'm glad it never happened.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, we wouldn't have come home when we did. We wouldn't have come home before Christmas, right. 2013. That's for sure. If we had gotten a different lawyer, different judge, you know, I can understand people's frustration. Of course, this is what I'm saying. Our emotions, our mental state was getting smashed. This is what they were doing. They were trying to to turn on each other. And I was doing my best to keep the peace. Because I felt after what I had done and I made it to try and get in the good books and win the guys over. I sacrificed my own well-being so they wouldn't spread negativity. Because negativity spreads like wildfire in them situations. And I saw it every day for 4 years, the miserable faces of everyone. And when I had the chance to look in the mirror, I could see the emptiness and the pain and suffering in my own face.
Yeah.
And then we get told it's unlike Donkey Kong, Judgment Day. That's what we called it. Decision Day. And it was the 27th of November 2013. And I've said this many times. I've always liked the song from Europe, The Final Countdown.
Yeah.
But on the radio that night, they were playing rock ballads.
Right.
And there's one thing when you go into these prison, the doors are different to the prison doors in our prison. They make more noise.
Yeah.
And you hear the clanking of the keys. And I tell you what, when that noise always happened, reality sinks in. You know where the fuck you are.
Yeah.
The hairs stand up, the shivers down your spine, and all the memories of your family, the happiness comes flooding to your fucking mind. Because you're trying to suppress all that. And that's one thing I will never forget, that noise. But we've been given that glimmer of hope And that song, The Final Countdown, came on, and I stood up in the cell and I went, "That's it, lads. Tomorrow is it. That's it. It's over tomorrow." And a few lads were like, "Well, we'll just see what happens." I could understand where they were coming from.
Yeah.
Skeptical, being,
But you've got to have self-help as well. Yeah.
And I wasn't trying to, but I was just trying to keep the happiness, the morale high as best as we can in a realistic way. I always say things 50-50. And that's exactly what it was. Because they knew this came from the judge, because the captain had bone cancer. So while our case was stuck for a year in the High Court, we put a red herring to get him, because he had bone cancer. He looked a bag of shit. He looked like a skeleton with skin hanging over. He was fucked. They started giving him treatment, but he didn't realise the treatment was having a good effect and helping him. So when his court case went up to the Supreme Court, who heard it? Chief Justice of India himself. Because India's a state-run country. Yeah. You've got chief justices in different places, right? And we got told.
Answer if you need to.
No, sorry. Wait, hang on. You just cut this.
Yeah.
Hello. So, yes, the captain, his case to get removed from prison to go to a hospital and have his family from the Ukraine to come out to basically see him die.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. And I've said this, and I said this to the embassy and about my situation with me mum. And I even did the willingness, and they even said to me, they wouldn't let you. I even said, if my mum dies, I will sign paperwork. You can have the police escort me to the airport and pick me up, but please let me go and fucking bury my mum if the worst came to worst. And you know what the embassy said to me? They wouldn't do it.
They don't give a shit.
They wouldn't do it. So, because of this nature, this is how the Chief Justice of all of India replied. No. However, why is these men still in my country? Does someone want to... Well, that was the green light for the lawyers to go, well, Chief Justice, if you look at the High Court, you'll notice they've been waiting a year for a decision. And he's gone, right, okay. Give that to the court. I want a decision in 2 weeks. A week later, the Donkey Kong tune is on its row. We're going. Monday, the 27th of November, Judgment Day. And I, just like I said before about the final countdown, that was the final countdown. And we never slept that night.
I can imagine.
Because we knew what was coming the next day.
Yeah.
That prison cell, I nearly mowed down the guard when he was opening it. Because I just wanted to get out, because we built a little Flintstone gym. If you want to know what the Flintstone gym looks like, go onto my social media. The pictures are there. We built it with branches, bed sheets, and bricks. Improvisation. So I went out and trained, and where our cell was at the back of the compound, and behind that was a mango tree.
Yeah.
And that's a bit of shade, so that's where we put our little gym. And after each, you do like a little circuit, and then I'll go for a walk around, drink, crack on, and probably do that about 5 times, and that was a workout.
Yeah.
Healthy mind, healthy body. You're a lot healthier in spirit, and you can fight the demons. And I noticed one of the guys he was in charge of us, but he said, "Look, we're all in this together." But the prison, because of what he was on the ship, even though the captain didn't he was fucking nearly died, so fell down to the TDO, and he got summoned by the superintendent. And I collared him. I went, "Where are you off to?" "Oh, I'm being summoned." So doing again, and as I've come around again, he's coming back into the compound. And I tell you what, it's probably the best news I've ever heard in my fucking entire life. He came in and he looked at us and he goes, "Get your shit together. The embassy's coming at 11 o'clock. And I tell you what, the knot in my stomach, it felt like someone had just taken my knees away. And my head was just filled with, It was going at 100 million miles an hour. And if you want to know what it means to a family to find out the good news, you can still to this day find the Tyne Tees news when my sister because the lawyer decided to text all the family instead of individually ringing, because it would have been it's a lot easier. And for that whole day, because of the time difference, the media was at mine for like 6 o'clock in the morning. And they were waiting all day for the news. We didn't get told the news till nearly 5 o'clock at night. Because if they told us a little bit earlier, we might have been able to get out of the prison. But they've said this is a thing that has never happened before. Normally you've got to wait for your court paperwork to turn up as a prison before you get released.
Yeah.
So we got told there was, I think, 40 court cases. Guess what we were? Number 40. Save the best till last, eh? And you can see, like I say, you see the video footage of me family being told the good news. And we're 5.5 hours ahead at the time. And I was in the gym. And you know when someone's full of emotion, they're buzzing, but they're soon like they're going to cry at the same time.
Yeah.
They came to the barred windows and they went, Dunny. I went, what? "Case acquitted. It's over."
I can see the emotion in your face now.
And I was like, "I fucking told yous. I told yous." And I tell you what, that was like winning the lottery for us. I was like winning the lottery. And it was fucking, when the embassy is coming, everyone's head's like it's just all over. I was like, we've been here a million times. I'm not fucking Russian. Because in India, they go, wait, and it's but a fucking 4 hours later before they do anything. I'm not Russian. I think I was the last person to walk down to the main gate. And when I got down to the main gate, the High Commissioner, the Deputy High Commissioner from the British Embassy was there, the consul ladies, the Estonian embassy was there, the superintendent, she came because she was on maternity leave. She came because that's how much compassion, I believe, because she knew we weren't bad people.
Yeah.
She even came. And when you see the embassy there, and you just got in the car and you feel the aircon hit you, and it's like a fucking nightmare. It's over. And the only number I could remember is my sister's off by heart. And the time I got to the embassy, there's that couple of second, yeah, because it's an international call, you got that couple of second
the delay,
delay. And I went, hello, hello. And she's like, because it would have came up unknown number. My sister was like, hello, who's this? I went, it's me. It's me. And she was screaming down the phone. She says, I'm on the way to the fucking airport. I'm coming to get you. My dad was literally taking her. Literally, my sister was literally there. And when they got told the good news, our friends just went, get a fucking plane ticket now. Because our visa was still from our last visit. Because in the March, she brought me dad out. And she was a bit unnervy whether to bring him out because he's obviously old school and he's in his late 70s, now anyways, so she was just thinking of his health because it's fucking hot over there. Yes, my dad's been to Tunisia, but it's a different
heat, yeah.
It's subtropical over there. And I needed my dad to come and see us. My morale was fucked. I was on fumes.
Yeah.
And then when I saw him, because I went, I'm never going to see me mum. Dad's not getting any younger, and I'm here for 5 years plus, whatever. I need to see him. So she brought him over, and that gave me that mental strength to take me to the final hurdle when we got released. And the paperwork didn't even turn up. The embassies came and got her. Because the judge said, get them out now. And we got to the embassy and it was so surreal. Like, you just wanted to get home.
Yeah.
And they fucked about for nearly a week.
A week?
Yeah, they fucked about for nearly a week, sorting my visas out. And the lads were getting a bit irate. And I was like, come on, man. This is what they do. This is that final fuck around tactics. And then we all got our plane tickets sorted. And I chose my plane ticket. So I only had to wait an hour and a half in Dubai. And when Sharon and Manisha, that's the other lass's name, Sharon and Manisha were there, and she says, can I just check your flight? I want that flight. And she goes, no, you've got to get that one. You've all got to get out the country today. Immediately. So basically, the Tamil Nadu police have had their asses smacked off central government and they've been told get out now. So I've not slept in nearly a week because I'm full of beans.
Yeah.
I am full of hope. I've been living in a hovel for 4 years. Apart from when I was in the hostels, but it's not. It's like an extended holiday that you wish you never went on. Because we all come back with a bit of suntan and skint. Obviously I didn't. I come back like a bag of shit. A bit of, not so much facial hair. But my hair was long. I grew my hair for 2 years. And I remember being in Dubai and I had to wait 6 hours. And I had no money. For anyone who's been to Dubai, we all know we can get a Wi-Fi signal.
Yeah. No.
Not Mr. Dunn, no. It's like someone had told Dubai to not let my phone connect so I could find out what was going on in the UK.
Fucking hell.
And then
so it felt like so close but so far.
Yeah, and yeah. I had no money. I was just a little bit able to get an Americano And I made that last about 7 hours because I said if I fell asleep here and missed me flight,
Fucking hell.
I'm never going to let it down. And I got onto that plane, and 10 out of 10 out of 10, 5-star rating for Emirates for how they facilitated my travel home. Thank you so much. I had my own trolley dolly, but they made it low key.
Yeah.
But she couldn't serve no one else. She had to serve me. She was always coming for my needs. Are you all right? Just to make us feel comfortable. Because I was just... But when I got on the plane to Dubai, to Newcastle, there was people who knew who I was.
Yeah.
But they were so amazing. They left us alone. When I was looking around, and I might have got the toilet, a few people have said, well done, welcome home, son.
I could imagine it had been so easy to be overwhelming, yeah.
But they were trying not to make us overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And I was just like in disarray. But I always had memories of what it would be like to come home. We've all been on a plane, and you know, when you come to land, they always say, right, can you please return to your seats? Where it's going to be start descending to Newcastle or wherever your airport is. And every time I slept and before I went to sleep, I always dreamt of that day.
Yeah.
And everything was different bar that bit. And I've not slept for nearly a week. I am shagged. It's starting to look like I've just done bloody manic mole in where you do your sleep deprivation training. I was fucked. And I heard that on the tannoy, and someone had just put a new fresh battery in my back, and I just became alive.
Yeah.
And when you come into Newcastle Airport, you pass that big orange-looking building at Blythe, don't you?
Yeah.
I saw that, and I was starting to choke. I was like, I'm fucking home. I'm home. And you land, and everyone got off the plane, and I was by myself, and the captain came out, shook my hand, says, welcome home. I got to the top of the stairs, and fuck me, it was freezing. It was Baltic. But I tell you what, I've never felt so clean, crisp air.
Yeah.
Taking a whiff, my lungs were having a party because I've just smelled shit for 4 years. And I nearly fell down the fucking stairs because the baggage handlers were welcome home.
Bloody
and
hell.
I turned and the fucking bus was stood there and they were all waiting. And I got on the bus, I went, sorry, and they went, don't worry, it's for you, man. And I tell you what, I know I've said thank you to Emirates, but I'm now going to say thank you again to Newcastle Airport for how you facilitated my welcome home. I'll never forget it. But I was picked up by a lady from the airport, and the baggage handlers must have fucking jumped on that plane and fished my bag out because it was waiting by the conveyor belt, and none of the other bags had started yet.
Fucking hell.
So thank you, Newcastle Airport, for that. And I went past immigration, and I was thinking in my head, I could have brought fucking loads of tabs back because I just bypassed that. And I tell you what, this is a day I've been trying to see for 4 years of what it would be like. The day I've been wishing for. And it was the hardest fucking moment of my life.
Yeah.
She took me and she went, right, Nick, the rest is yours, journey alone. I can't take you any further. And I got to the doors, and obviously they're censored, and some guy from another flight came, and he opened the doors, and I just stood there in fucking shock. I saw all the media down the right-hand side. I saw me family, people's support banners, fucking saying welcome home, Nick, on the left, and the door's shut again, and I was fucking thinking, fuck, I can't do this. The day I've been waiting all 4 years, I can't do it. I can't do it. And I was trying to psych myself up. And then, even to this day, like, the memories still feel raw, because that's the mental anguish we went through. You cut your finger, oh yeah, it's all right, but your mind's different, it works differently. And I psyched myself up, took a deep breath, and some bloke came on the right side again, opened the doors. My dad's noticed, because I didn't realise I was on Facebook Live. People in Chronicle Live,
Yeah.
They saw me flight coming in. They were, where is he? He should be here by now. Because they didn't know what the airport was doing.
Yeah.
But they thought they might have been people coming before me, but it wasn't. It was from a different flight. And my dad noticed us. He went, he's there. And when you see the video of me coming home, you see how me and my sister just smash into each other. It was like two magnets.
Yeah.
And it just broke me. And I saw my mum in the wheelchair. And you could hear a pin drop at that moment. Because that's what it was set up for. Me to be reunited. Not just with my family. But with my mum. And it broke me. It broke me seeing me little mama. It did, it broke us. And seeing me dad again. Seeing me friends. And seeing other people, people were stopping in the airport in amazement at what's just happened.
Yeah.
I know people were getting on with their own lives. I don't expect anyone to just stop for me. I'm not some special person, But it was the compassion that people was showing. Yeah. They were seeing what it's like for a family to be torn apart and be reunited years later. And we had a lass used to work for Metro Radio. She was literally on from day one with such amazing support. So we got. You see some of the pictures. I'm like that, walking to the car, hair all over. It's 7th of December. I'm freezing my tits off. I've been in a country where the average temperature is 30.
Yeah.
30 degrees, man.
So you're not exactly acclimatised.
I'm not acclimatised. I've just gone from a frying pan into a freezer. One extreme to the next, and literally. And if anyone's been to India, it's noisy because there's traffic. They just they cause so much traffic jams. They'll just toot the horns because that makes them feel better because it achieves nothing. Because they toot the horn and they'll go, "What am I meant to do? How am I meant to move?" And it was, you could hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
And we had 4 ex-biker gang as a support. They're like a lot of ex-military as well.
Yeah.
From Blythe. And they gave us an escort. They literally stopped on the roundabouts to stop traffic.
Fucking hell.
No lights. They just pulled up. So some of them would come out and just go ahead and just plonk themselves and stop the flow of traffic for my escort. And I tell you what, absolutely amazing scenes.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It was all these chopper bikes, and I thank them so much. And they took me and my sister out on a bike ride around the country, and fuck me, they're unbelievable bikes. Them unbelievable. But getting home, man, it was so surreal because I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do. And they went, are you hungry? I went, I'm fucking starving. What do you want? Just get us a McDonald's. Because I didn't know what the fuck to eat. I just get us a McDonald's. You know, and I was struggling to eat it.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Because the majority of the food I've been eating for nearly 2 years is fucking stew that we used to cook. Because it was either rice and dal and chapatis 3 times a day, or we try and make ourselves food. Yeah. And we used to call it Big Bob's Bastard Stew because we just threw everything in the fucking thing just to try and make it taste nice. But like getting home, it was like end of a chapter onto a new one.
Yeah.
And now it's to rebuild me life. And yeah, I did, like you see on the media when I did Tyne Tees and BBC Look North the day I arrived back home.
Huh.
So they came and picked us up, and you can literally see us. I'm about to just collapse. I've not slept in a week nearly, but I was just so relieved. And then it was like, get your hair cut. But the support from everyone was just fantastic. I can't say enough thank yous, and if I could literally shake everyone's hand and give them a big cuddle for everyone's amazing support, I would. You know, I had people writing us from Canada, France, America, Australia. They heard this, and they heard this because of my sister.
Yeah.
Putting it out there to the world and some of the other families, and because it was an international incident in the maritime industry, they pushed it out as well. So thank you for everyone that wrote to me. You know, some people I still speak to this day, a guy in America and a guy in Australia. It's just amazing when people come together and show amazing support. That's the beauty I think we all have in our lives. We just wish we could see it a bit more often nowadays. But just getting back home and settling down, I've gone from one culture to another now. My culture, and what have I missed? I remember walking up up Main Street in Ashington, and I was like, what the fuck's going on? And people would stop us and say, welcome home, and this, that, and the other, and oh, you should be writing a book, there should be a film. And the amount of times that people, like, I even had people write, say in letters, are you writing any memoirs down? Because we would love to know what happened, the truth. And that kept on happening. I started doing a few interviews and podcasts, and then I said to my sister, I said, so many people are wanting me to write down what happened. What have we got to lose? And I tell you what, it's a hard process trying to, do it yourself.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And you had to get this person before that person, but in realistic terms, you get that person before that one. It's backward, but it was the correct decision. And Howard, who helped me write the book, obviously he put it into paragraphs, chapters, all the words is mine. There's no words that because the book itself, my book Surviving Hell, you could say it's a biography of my life.
Yeah.
It starts at the beginning, and it goes back to my childhood and to the whole case, etc. And I didn't want people who know me to read it and think, well, Nick wouldn't fucking use that word. Nick doesn't say it. Nick can hardly put 2 fucking words together, man. Never mind say this fandangle that if I says, oh, Nick, can you say that? He'd be like, I don't even know what that word means. Never mind say it.
Yeah.
So and then when people say, oh, it's an easy read, well, do you want a fucking difficult book to read, do you? Or do you want a book where you can literally pick it up
Yeah.
have all your emotions triggered, and put it down with a smile on your face because you know it's come to a happy conclusion.
Yeah.
Because that's what my book is, and that's what a lot of people have said my book is. It will trigger your emotions.
I'll tell you what, just sat here listening to your story, I'm fucking filling out.
You know, I don't. These are not crocodile tears. I know I've been home since 2017, and we're 2024 now. When I have to relive it,
Yeah.
the scars are still raw.
Well, I just want to say something. Anyone who's listening to this who thinks that Nick's sat here and fucking play acting or whatever, he's fucking not. Because I'm fucking.
You know, it's like I can't do fakeness. I'm more emotional now through what I've been through on the mental side.
You're killing me, mate.
You know, I can't lie.
Yeah.
And make it more I can't lie. I've got to just tell it how it is, how I saw it, how I perceive it. And I'm not going to lie, because if I lie, there's 22 other people who can fucking turn around and say you're lying, Nick.
Well, it's not so much even that, it's the memory of them as well.
Exactly.
You know,
we were all in it together. We were all served the same shitstorm.
Yeah.
We all missed our families. We all, some blokes were selling their retirement homes, selling cars, because they were the bread earners.
Yeah.
There was no financial help.
I just cannot get fucking round that.
Some people might believe I was compensated. They offered us 1,000 rupees, which is the equivalent of nearly £10. I have not received a fucking penny in compensation.
I'll cross that question out because that was one of them. Fuck me.
Not a penny. Nothing. The money that I've had to earn is through getting back into work.
Yeah.
And some money from a bit of me book. That is it. And getting back into work and family helping. It's not been a free ride.
No.
It's not been easy settling in, adjusting back to life. It's been hard because I've had to learn how to approach and deal with me mum after her aneurysm. I suffer mental health, but I control it. I don't let it beat me. But I keep stressing to people, you need to know your signs of your decline. You need to understand a bad day is different from a mental health bad day. I've had 3 mental breakdowns. I've fucking tried to kill myself. I popped so many pills of a high toxic rate. I had to have extensive internal organ checks to make sure I was able to be discharged.
Yeah. And that's only since you return home, yeah?
Yes.
Fucking hell.
People say to speak to someone. I was talking to a friend before that. It just happens when it happens. What people don't realise, when we are born, we are followed by death. And death can come at any time. There's one thing you'll never avoid in life, and that's death.
Yeah.
But please try and live your life as best as you can. I had an out-of-body experience. I saw myself on the edge of my bed just robotically popping these tablets. I can't even pronounce the name. I know people say the worst to do is drink vodka and paracetamol. But I went in my mum's cookie jar. And my mum's on some strong stuff.
Yeah. And
I just saw the strength of the milligram, the dodgy long name, and I thought, fucking, they're going to do the trick. And I have one regret. I wish I had more tablets. But I'm not saying that in a guilt-tripping way. I'm saying I failed. But When I came back from India, I was in a fight survival mode.
Yeah.
And I picked up a lot of people. And my mind was different then to it is now. I was coming across and go, why is there so many weak fucking people? Why is everyone crying about mental health? Do you know what I've just fucking done?
Yeah.
Yes, I was ignorant back then. I am not now. I'm a different person now. My mind's different now. I'm more emotional now. I don't think I would ever be back in that mind state. India and beyond, and before that, I'm not that Nick Dunn anymore. I cannot be that Nick Dunn anymore. This is a new life for me now. You could say a second chance in life.
Yeah, almost reborn type of thing.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with it now then?
I try not to let it manifest and get worse.
Yeah.
I
mean, probably just not idiots like me keeping asking you the fucking questions all the time.
No, it's
or does that
fine.
help?
No, it's good to talk.
Yeah.
I did talk in therapy. I felt so embarrassed turning to social media for help because
it's not something people are used to. For one
you
thing,
see so many people playing the system.
Yeah.
And their cries for help.
Yeah.
And you wonder why so many people don't want to seek help because they feel that they can't get help because too many people are playing the system. And it's wrong, and you should never do that. You should never play on mental health. It's not nice because people out there who can't, who do feel, they're the ones that feel let down, and they're the ones that may end up going the full 9 yards and killing themselves. Because I used to say people who try and self-harm and this and you're taking the coward's way out. How fucking wrong am I? They are brave, strong-willed people to do even that. Even to contemplate taking your life takes mental strength. And when I saw my out-of-body experience and I saw me doing that, and then I saw me like nearly comatose in me dressing gown on me bed, I kind of let the cat out the bag with my sister because the bond between me and my sister, I think she can sense a lot more in me than what I can. My sister's, how she does it, I don't know. She was nicknamed Small and Mighty. And
I mean, she's been your strength through all of this, hasn't she?
She's an amazing person. I will never be as strong-willed as her.
Yeah.
I will never be on any level that she's on. What she had to deal with, me mum, me, taking time off work, media, that's enough to destroy people.
Yeah.
And yes, okay, she's probably had a mental breakdown, but she dusts herself down and keeps the family going. She's
your rock.
She's a rock.
Yeah.
And I think everyone needs a Lisa Dunn in their life. I'm sorry, but she is an inspiration. And that's why she won an award, which I presented it to her. And I was a very proud brother when I did that.
I can imagine.
And like I say, dealing with me mental health, it's sometimes hard. I worry about things. Like I was worrying a bit the past couple of days about other things, just with finances, because we're all finding it hard, and you know, I was just worrying a bit, and it does play on you. But when I turned to social media for help, I tell you what, the support was tremendous. It was out of this fucking world. I had random numbers ringing us. How they got me number, I don't know. But that's
sometimes, a bit scary.
call it scary. I didn't look at it that way.
Yeah.
I saw it as if people want to get in touch with someone,
They
will get in touch with you.
And it's good that they have.
And I will say another thank you to the Walking with the Wounded, because they've been second to none, and they've been my go-to charity for my mental health, because of how they've dealt with me in such a professional manner. The help, like, literally straight away, they were on the phone because someone knew someone who worked for them, and they reached out, gave them my number and said ring them, and they came out to say us, my old employer basically got the police to come and give us a welfare check because he was concerned.
Right.
I know a lot of people think it's prying on your personal business, but it's not. It's because people fucking care.
Yeah.
People care.
Yeah.
When people are having a go at you, they're not having a go at you for having a go at you. They're having a go at you because they don't want you to do the unthinkable and try and take your life, because life is precious and we only have one life. Yes, we make mistakes. We're not perfect. But when you take your own life, you leave devastation for those loved ones that are left behind to pick up the pieces. And that is one of the regrets, because my sister said, don't you ever do that again, because you're like putting a fucking gun to mum and dad's head. And that's what I will not do that ever again.
No.
I've been lower than when I did that, and I've not turned to try and take my life.
Good.
So talking about it helps. I know it's not as easy. Do you not think it was hard for me speaking to some person I don't know in a room when his first question is, right, Nick, tell me what's wrong? How the fuck do you start?
Where do you start?
Where do you start?
You don't know what's wrong.
What do you say?
Yeah.
And he says, Nick, we've got 12 sessions for now. Take your time. But unleash.
Yeah.
I don't care what flowery language you use, but if it means getting this off your chest and making you feel better after, and I tell you what I did. After each session, I felt better and better. Yes, life is like a roller coaster. You're going to get up and down times. But the help is always there, ladies and gentlemen. The help is there. Don't fight back if your family and friends are giving you a hard time. They're not meaning it in a malice way. They're meaning it because they care. Because I'm sorry, if you sugarcoat shit and make things, soft for people, they'll take it exactly that. You need to hit hard and hit home and get them to realise they're in the shit and they need to sort their life out, because, like I said before, life is precious.
Yeah. Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there, Nick, to be honest. We've just gone through something similar in my family. And you're right, you're true. If you don't talk and you don't, you can't.
Yeah.
So what's the future hold for you then?
Live each day as a blessing. What will be, will be.
Yeah.
When you hear people, you got that 5-year plan.
Fuck that.
The 5-year plan is for a business person module, because within the first 3 years they make the money, and then they go through the process of selling it for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
And then get a new business or expand. If someone had said that to me before 2013, Oh, being in an Indian prison and being an international arms dealer, according to the Indian media, would not even cross my mind. What does the future hold? I've got a book out, Surviving Hell, as everyone knows.
Yeah.
And if you don't know where you can purchase it from, you can purchase it from Amazon, and I do sign copies, obviously.
I'll
People,
put a link in the show notes as well when I
yeah,
put it up.
people have said there should be a documentary done, even a potential film,
Yeah.
because it has everything that you could do. And we've seen some fucking dross films that get published, and you think, how do they
Fucking
make
hell.
it?
Netflix will put anything on. Yeah.
Well, I hope they don't pick someone black to play me like they seem to do with a lot of stuff they're doing, but but no, that would be great if that one day was to happen. Fingers crossed it might. But the future is just spend time with my family, and try and do better than my previous year.
Yeah.
Always try and strive to do better in life. Um,
Have you found it hard to get back into work since you got back?
it's been a bit strange. I've had a few jobs. Um, I try to come out of the security industry to try and try something different, and I've not found that job, so I'm
Yeah.
still back in security now. And I think as the time and the years have gone past with me being home, I'm a bit easier. I'm not as edgy and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Especially with the current job I'm in now, it is a little bit testing, but that is the youngsters of today. They've got no manners, morals, or respect, and you've got to just bite your lip and know you can't factory reset them.
Yeah.
Which is probably something that a lot of parents, I believe, needs to start doing to their kids. Because if the way they're going, they're just gonna just self-destruct. These kids, they're turning into little arseholes, committing crime at younger age. Like, I wasn't a golden child, far from it, but we never did anything criminal.
No. Exactly.
We
Exactly the same
never
as me.
did. If we did smash windows, they were in abandoned places.
Derelict house, old factory or something
You
like
know
that.
what I mean? I'd never think twice about chucking a brick through someone's car.
No.
Or a window. Maybe an egg. We can clean that up. You know what I mean?
I mean, the thought wouldn't have even crossed my mind.
It wouldn't, and like I say, I'm grateful for the childhood that I had, because it's made me who I am, and who I am today. That's part and parcel of what India's done to me. I look at my time, and I have a favourite saying. There is a saying, but it's worded different, so I call this my own. And it's every negative, there's a positive.
Yeah.
Never given hope, always strive to that light at the end of the tunnel, no matter how dim it may appear. And we did that. There was times where the light was so blinding, and the Indians just moved the goalpost, and it was dim in seconds.
Yeah.
But you know what? You dust yourself down, and you keep plodding towards that light again. And that's if any advice that anyone can take from this podcast, please just keep heading towards that light of hope and never give in.
Well, that's a good way to end the podcast. It's positive thinking. I'll thank you for your time. It's been a fucking roller coaster. I think I'm gonna have to go nip out tonight and get a fucking big bottle of wine.
I'm gonna treat myself. I need a fucking drink after
I'm
that.
gonna ask you one question.
Yes.
Right, and this is the one I wrote down when we were talking earlier, and I think I know the answer. Would you ever consider going back to India?
I don't think I'll be allowed back in India. After how they got us out of the country,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be allowed a visa. I've been asked that question, not on podcast, but in person. However, I don't think my sister would allow it. I think she would have been straight onto the Home Office to have my passport cancelled. That I definitely know would happen.
Right, and on that, we'll say goodbye. Well, I know this was a long one, but I hope you enjoyed it. As you've heard, Nick's been through a lot and has come out the other end but is still suffering. If you listen to this and it's made you think of your own mental health, please reach out to someone and don't try and hold it all in. And on another note, if you like this podcast and the previous ones, please consider buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Frankie'sPod. It just helps to fund for the software and the hosting and everything like that. Cheers. Bye-bye now.